Hello, everyone. Welcome. Today is Wednesday, July 28th of 2021. My name is Juan. I work as a guide for the Central Park Conservancy. We'll be together for approximately 15 minutes exploring the iconic Great Lawn and some other special landscapes nearby. Our mission at the Central Park Conservancy is to preserve and celebrate Central Park as a sanctuary from the pace and pressures of city life, enhancing the enjoyment and well-being of all. Now, before we get started, a little bit of housekeeping. As you know, we are using Zoom to connect today. Everyone is muted and only my video feed is on. Please feel free to use the chat feature on your Zoom control bar to say hello and comment. You can also use the Q&A feature, also found on the control bar, to ask any questions. My colleagues Ryan and Jose are on the back end answering any questions that you might have. Also be on the lookout for links that I will be sharing and which I'll drop on the chat box below. I've also enabled closed captioning, and for some reason I cannot see the control on my toolbar, but you should be able to see two C's on the control panel next to where the Q&A feature is. You can turn it on or off, and this can help if you have a hard time deciphering what I'm communicating. It's not perfect, but it often helps. Now, in case of connection issues, if I disconnect, I'll try to connect right back on again. Ryan and Jose should stay connected. If you disconnect, all you need to do is click on the link that you first used to connect in the first place. The photos that I'll be sharing with you today, I took a few days ago. 2 photos come from our archival collections here at the Conservancy. I took a photo also in the wintertime that I'll be sharing today. And 3 other historical images come from the collections of the New York Historical Society. And here is the park. As many of you know, it runs from 59th Street to 110th Street, covering 843 acres and built between 1858 and 1872. This is the landscape that we are going to explore today. And it was built in 1937 and comprises a 13-acre oval situated right about at the center of the park. It's a lawn that has been one of the city's most prestigious settings for outdoor concerts, in a way telegraphing a sense of the very heart of New York. Not long ago, our mayor, Bill de Blasio, announced a large-scale performance by multiple acts and called on Clive Davis, an 89-year-old producer from Brooklyn and the music industry eminence, to pull it together. I'll share more info on that iconic event that will be happening very, very soon. This is the route that we are going to be following. We are going to start at West 81st Street, then move about the park, checking out some very special points of interest, and then finishing off at the on the northern side of the Great Lawn. Here we are on the southwestern corner of West 81st Street and Central Park West. We are going to go across the street. And it's a hot day, so I guess we are lucky that we're doing this virtually. Very hot when I took these images. Temperature was close to 90 degrees Fahrenheit and very humid. After we get across, we learn that this is Hunter's Gate, one of the 21 named entrances to the park, making honor to the people for which the park was built. We're going to now go across the street once again, this time heading north. So to enter at the northeast corner, where soon after we enter, we are encountered with this idyllic scenery of our beloved park. Now here, immediately to our left, we have one of the 21 playgrounds in the park. This one was donated by American singer, songwriter, and actress Diana Ross. Ms. Ross gave a concert at the Great Lawn in Central Park in 1983 that was unfortunately interrupted by a severe storm with winds of upwards of 50 miles an hour and thunder and lightning as well. She gave it again the very next day. This happened in July of 1983. She pledged that she would donate money from the concert profits for a playground to be built in the park. Unfortunately, it turned out that there were no profits, very expensive to produce event. They had to do it twice. But Diana said that she would donate the playground anyway. And on the day of the groundbreaking ceremony in September of 1986, she said that donating for the development of this playground was one of the most fulfilling aspects of her life and career. Now, this is a closer view of the playground. Inside, you have wooden climbing structures with multiple levels of platforms and decks linked to ladders, slides, and tire swings, all set in a sand area. There are also toddler swings and a water spray feature. Now, in 2013, the Conservancy launched a plan for a project called Plan for Play, a project that is intended to guide the continuous stewardship of Central Park's 21 playgrounds. And the project provides the framework for a program of work to rebuild playgrounds and sustain them into the future. Meaning, if you visit, who knows what time in the future, this will hopefully be here for everyone to enjoy. Now we're going to leave this immediate area and go and explore a hidden gem in the park. Instead of walking straight through this path over here, which will bring us pretty much for the most part directly to the Great Lawn, we're going to turn to the left to check out this very special site. As we turn left, we're going to follow this promenade, and at the end, we're going to turn to the right. When we get there, we are going to follow this unmarked path, which will bring us there. And as we reach this area, you can see that it consists pretty much of a wood chipped entrance and shrubs and small trees on either side, sort of hiding kind of like what's inside. And once we step through, we see a wood chipped clearing with a stone bench to the right. As we step closer, we see this water feature. This setting is called Tanner's Spring. Yes, this is a natural spring whose name commemorates Dr. Harry S. Tanner, a 19th century proponent of therapeutic fasting. Tanner, in the summer of 1880, elected to fast under constant observation for 40 days and nights, supplied only by the water from the natural springs in Central Park. We don't know exactly if he drank exactly from this spring, but it's very probable. Now, before the construction of the park, this spring provided water for the community of Seneca Village, which was located very nearby where we find ourselves right now. We're going to exit Tanner Spring and we're going to be passing by these two Osage orange trees to the left and proceed to one of the 30+ crossings that we have in the park. This is showing you the map, and as you can see, the area that we are going to check out is called Winterdale Arch. This is the promenade that is going to take us there. We are heading south, so to then proceed east. And very soon, very close by, we see Winterdale Arch over here. Winterdale Arch is, again, one of the 30+ arches that we have in the park, built in 1862. Above it, it carries the main carriage drive, and below it, there's a bridle trail and a promenade for foot traffic. This allows for different groups of park users to not bump into one another as they're moving through the park. This grand arch is very special. Features the widest span in all of the bridges and arches that we have in the park, and designed to flourish in the wintertime, or to stand out in the wintertime. In fact, this area where we are, and roughly between 72nd and 102nd Street along this drive, this was a landscape that was built to flourish in the winter. Designers lined the drive with conifer trees to promote horse-drawn sleigh rides through the winter months. And in 1993, the Conservancy restored Winterdale and reconstructed the railings, which had been missing for over 50 years, and has continued to plant many of the coniferous trees that unfortunately were lost very early on in the early days of the park and by the late 19th century. This is Winterdale in its winter element. The stone is light in color, quarried from Maine. This enhances and carries this wintry feel even in the warmer months of the year. And inside, you can see the brickwork, especially the white-colored brick laid in a pattern that resembles falling snowflakes. Now we're going to exit Winterdale Arch and move over to the right. So to proceed to our landscape of interest, we only have a couple more minutes to go. But nevertheless, all of the features that we are about to explore are in a very special way interconnected. This is the promenade that is going to bring us there. We're going to walk all the way down. When we get close to the end, before we turn to the left, I want to show you a very special stone that is very unassuming that can be found here to the left-hand side where these children are playing. And this is it. The landscape we are about to explore were mostly built in the 1930s. This is what remains of what was here before. This is a small piece of the massive western wall of a reservoir built here in 1842, years before Central Park. As I mentioned, construction for the park began in 1858. And this is how that reservoir looked. It stretched from roughly 79th Street to 86th Street, and from 7th Avenue here in the foreground to 6th Avenue on the other side. As the population of the city kept increasing, a second reservoir was built. This one was built in 1862 as the park proper was being built. The second reservoir is still in existence, and the lower reservoir, the lower rectangle, was demolished in 1929, giving way to the areas that we are about to explore now. And this is the promenade that is going to take us there. Already you can see to the left-hand side, there's a sign that reads Great Lawn. And this is definitely the main or the focal point of this new development from the 1930s. But before we go and check out the Great Lawn, let's direct ourselves here to the right-hand side. So to explore some of the more naturalistic features of this environment. And once we turn to the right, we have this little path. And then we're going to turn to the left where we encounter this boardwalk, really, a nature blind, a place that allows us to see the wildlife in the surrounding area and the vistas from the left, front, and the right. To the left, we see hibiscus flowers in bloom this time of the year, flowers that are set in submerged concrete shelves designed to offer each of the several groups of wetland plants in this body of water their ideal water coverage. Full frontal, we have a view of this lake called Turtle Pond, developed again in 1937 after that reservoir was demolished. To the right-hand side, we have a beautiful view of the iconic Belvedere Castle, from where you can enjoy sweeping panoramic views of the surrounding areas. And below, down into the water, we see the many different types of turtles that call this environment home. And I love turtles because they are symbols of slowing down of time. And Central Park is that kind of place. Once you step in, the pressures of city life kind of fall behind you, and it's almost as if you enter into another realm. But enough with the naturalism. Let us now explore the Great Lawn proper, the final 3 stops on our tour. This is the promenade that is going to take us there. Before we see the Great Lawn proper, I'd like to share this sign, one of the many that are now displayed throughout the park. This one reading, "This park is an essential part of the city, an opportunity to reset, exercise, and relax." This was said by a park visitor. I believe this is very true. Here is our view directly to the left. This sign is to the right. Directly to the left-hand side, we have, this sweeping panoramic view of the Great Lawn. Again, it's 13 acres big, about 13, 15 acres in total. Its perimeter promenade draws joggers to exercise, and very soon a grand concert will be held here that will signal New York's grand reopening after a year and a half of closures and restrictions brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic. I took this photo after a rainy night, resulting in the lawn being closed until things dry up. But when it is dry, people are allowed to lounge over here, picnic, and also relax. In the winter time, I took this photo a few months back. You can enjoy cross-country skiing if it happens to snow more than 6 inches, or build a snowman, whichever you prefer. Very, very fun time to be had here, no matter the time of the year. Now, here we have an image depicting what this lawn is popular for. Again, one of the premier destinations in New York to enjoy outdoor concerts. And this is from a concert that happened in 1981, where Simon and Garfunkel performed to a crowd of close to 500,000 people. Heavy use like this in the 1950s, softball fields were added as well, and this heavy use resulted in the soil of the lawn being compacted, where it became very difficult for lawn to grow. Also, the old foundations of the reservoir were left here. And by the middle of the 1990s, this is how the Great Lawn was looking. It was nicknamed the Great Dust Bowl. Very difficult to grow lawn over here and very difficult to maintain. The Conservancy, as a result, entered into an $18 million restoration where the compacted soil was removed. The old foundations of the reservoir were also removed. The new sprinkling systems were installed. Over 200 automatic water sprinklers, hundreds and hundreds more of trees were added, like these 2 linden trees that you see here framing the Beresford apartments on Central Park West at 81st Street, right at where we entered into the park. And again, today providing for a very healthy environment, one that is better managed and providing for beautiful visitor experiences. Proceeding north over here, we have the view that we get looking south. We can see the dramatic contrast created by the tall skyscrapers situated in Midtown Manhattan. The city never seems more distant than any other point in the park from where we are right now. Now, the concert that will be happening here will take place on August 21st, and the place will be packed by about 60,000 individuals, not 100,000, not 500,000 like in that Simon and Garfunkel concert. The process today is better managed, so to ensure that these landscapes remain healthy, people will enjoy performances by performers like Carlos Santana, Jennifer Hudson, the New York Philharmonic Orchestra, and Paul Simon will be here. Again, many other performers will be here, and information is available online. This is being put together by the Office of the Mayor of New York and the New York City Parks Department. Now, my favorite thing to do in this landscape here is to sit down, read a book on a nice early summer or late summer day. I'm not too keen on the very, very hot days, but nevertheless, there are days that I do enjoy. This is a landscape that will never disappoint, and through the Conservancy stewardship, it's being cared for in a way that will reveal to us and future generations the transcendental power that nature alone has to renew us and revitalize us. This brings us to the end of our walk. This is the route that we've covered, but don't leave just yet. Here's a map showing you the route that we just covered. Join us again next week, where we will walk to the Hallett Nature Sanctuary in the southern section of the park. Here again is the map of the park. I'll be sharing some links, inviting you to my 2 upcoming events, where in the northern sections, we'll explore fortresses that were built there in the 19th century for the most part, but history that dates back to revolutionary America. And I also want to invite you to a southern welcome in the southern section of the park. Both events are happening on August 17th and August 31st. I'll be sharing that link on the comments section just right about now. And if you have any questions, let us know. Thank you for visiting Central Park from Home. You can share your stories using the hashtag MyCentralPark, or go visit centralparknyc.org/MyCentralPark, where you'll find programming for the whole family. From everyone in our organization, stay safe and be well. I will leave the room open for a few moments to answer any questions and share those links that I have for you. Once again, thank you for your attention. Have a wonderful afternoon. Bye-bye.